Welcome to the next episode of the CAPB Podcast. I am delighted to welcome a fellow Royal Engineer veteran, Ash Lucas. Welcome to the podcast, Ash.
Cheers, mate. Good to be here. It's been a long time coming, this has.
Well, it has, yeah, it has. So the listeners or the viewers may obviously see that Matt isn't here. I am riding solo tonight, so this is going to be an absolute fucking car crash. So let's get on with it. So, Ash, you served 10.5 years in the Royal Engineers.
I did. I think I did a couple of sandy tours with yourself, didn't I?
We did do, yeah. Which kind of brings me on to our first question, which is obviously out of that 10.5 years, can you give us a highlight of your military career?
It's a bit of a cliche, this, and I've listened to all the pods. I've tried to be the first person to listen to all episodes, and it's a bit of a cliche. And I'm going to say, Tour of Afghan was ace. They are probably the memories I look back with the most fondest memories, if that makes sense. When I did the tour of Iraq, was it 2008, 2009?
2008, yeah.
Landsjack, didn't have an absolute Scooby what to do. But when we got to Afghan, I actually felt like I knew my job. And the group of lads that we deployed was absolutely next level. Really good soldiers, really good men and women. And it was a cool job, I must admit. Talisman, so route clearance in and around Helmand, was a pretty cool job.
It was.
What I say to my kids is, what did you do in Afghan, Dad? Well, I found a couple of IEDs, but I mostly played Call of Duty Black Ops and went to the gym. Played zombies, went to the gym. We dabbled in a bit of Jiu-Jitsu, didn't we? Grappling on a 3v6 mat outside the gym, not knowing what we were doing, playing UFC. But biggest, fondest memory is Afghan. I look back with obviously there's some not so nice stuff, some stuff that wasn't ideal. But the biggest memories were from that. I must admit, it was.
Yeah, we met in 2008.
We did. Can I share my first memory with you?
When we were
getting dragged across the pool in Hona in the fetal position in the middle of winter, going down with cold injury.
Section comp.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was either you or DT threw some mud at me, and I just lost my absolute shit because we were in a minefield prodding, and I just lose my absolute shit and throw my dumb toys out of plan.
Yeah. See out the arse at the mess do. That's good memories, mate.
Moving. Absolutely amazing memories. Yeah. Cheers, mate. Yeah. So, like I say, like it's it always seems to be a common theme with the guests we have on. We always link it back to our operational tours, and I think it's because we do such amount of training when we're in, and that's the time for us to shine, and that's the time for us to get all our learnings that we've done over our career and then put it into practice, such as Afghan and Iraq and other places. So yeah. So cool, mate. So I want to move on to, like, honestly, why you're here. So what is Op Resilience?
So Op Resilience is a movement. It's a movement around supporting people to become resilient, men to become and to stay resilient. Like, life is fucking hard, isn't it? And there are so many ways where we can struggle with our own physical or mental health, and Op Resilience is a way to foster that camaraderie, that the use of strategies, the ability to kind of bounce back from being kicked in the dick by life, essentially. And it's with a focus in around supporting men and men's mental health, raising the platform for men to understand what poor mental health can look like and what it can manifest like. But also, you get this mug, sticking some content out on Instagram about things that I've struggled with, maybe how I've overcome them, linking them to some strategies that actually work. I mean, there is lots of stuff online about being positive, and being positive is absolutely mega. But when life has taken a haymaker and RKO'd you out of nowhere, it's hard to look at the bright side of life. So I started Op Resilience as a way to kind of share that. Yeah, everyone can struggle. Like, we can serve operational tours. We can do cool shit where we do really manly jobs, but we can really struggle. So it's a way of breaking down those barriers for that and helping people understand that it can impact absolutely everyone. And just because you're not all right, just because you struggle, doesn't mean you're any less of a man, doesn't mean you're worthless. It means that you're going through some hard stuff. And there is a way forward with it. There is a way to recover.
That's amazing, mate. I mean, your content, I love your content. It's A up, blokes. I love it, mate. It's like
hate it. But it's the way of the world, though, isn't it? You've got to put my face on it.
It is. It is the way of the world. I love it, mate. It's really good. Your content that you push out weekly, whether you're walking, most of the time you're walking around, and yeah, it's really good because you break it down simply and things like that. I have noticed that what you do is, have you partnered with off the back of the stuff that you do for Up Resilience? How does that?
So
work?
What it was turned 30 years old, life came fucking crashing down to us. And do you know when we say about the operational tours where mega, that's probably the highlight of a career. Yeah, we got to do a job that I've been training for years, if not decades. But the sense of camaraderie and sense of belonging when you're on operational tours, living in the same room, operating at the same vehicle, going on patrols, sorting out the vehicles, even going for food and going to the gym together, you create that bond that's, in my opinion, unmatched anywhere else. And yeah, in Afghan, we got to do a job that was, pretty cool. But on reflection, fucking scary sometimes. But it's a sense of belonging. And through my work outside of the military, I work in schools now with children with social, emotional, mental health difficulties. And I've been really fortunate to be exposed to some real interesting people and some training and psychology around like humans need to belong somewhere. And I really struggled leaving the military. I know a few other guests have mentioned about struggling when I was leaving, just because I didn't have that sense of belonging. Since then, so to cut a long story short, at the age of 30, after life came crumbling down, I found Jiu-Jitsu. Now, it's a massive cliche. Everyone bangs on about it. But I found a real niche group of people that like-minded to me that has helped me recreate that sense of belonging there. Good blokes. They're fucking awful human beings. The crime rate goes down in Grimsby when everyone's in the gym, but they're a solid bunch of good men, good husbands, good dads who are willing to kick fuck out of each other on a regular basis. Anyway, so I dabbled with a bit of MMA as well, and I was meant to have a fight last September, September 24, but I broke my hand. So I thought, right, I still want to do something on that day. Because I wanted something to train for. Like myself personally, I need something to train for. So I thought there's a running route in Grimsby called the Croxby Crawl. It's a 4.4 mile route with the biggest hills in Grimsby. I mean, Lincolnshire's pretty flat, but there's some tasty ones there. So I thought, fuck it, I'll do 12 laps of that, which is just over 50 miles. I thought I'd do a lap every hour on the hour. And I raised money for Andy's Man Club, like that national charity for men's mental health, and Reorg, it was started by the bootneck guy, wasn't it? He really pushed Jiu-Jitsu in the forces. So I raised money for them. But in reflection, it was good, like really worthy causes. But in reflection, what I thought was, one, that's not tough enough. 50 miles, piece of piss. Ish, when my toenails grew back. So I wanted to do something that benefited local people, local to me. So I thought, right, I'm going to do 24. I've always wanted to do a 100 miler. So I did 24 laps, 110 miles, and I raised money for a local charity called Kudox, and they offer free therapy to blokes. To cut a long story short, I mean, I think I've gone on a little bit there.
Oh, no, that's what I was saying. Like, you're not just Up Resilience isn't just about the social media aspect of breaking down. It's your what you do as part of Up Resilience is creating real change.
You know what? I could have said that. You could have said that. And the idea around it is, we can talk about reducing stigma and we can give people strategies to it, but there are some people that really struggle to access things, whether that's financially. Waiting lists are over 2 years to access NHS therapy local to me. And I bumped into this charity online who offer free therapy for men and women and children, and it's all done by grants and funding and things. So in total, that 110 miler that I did raised $3,000, and $2,000 of that has paid for 9 men to access 6 sessions of therapy.
That's amazing.
So
mate.
I found that the other day, and I fucking cried, mate. I cried. I sat with it. I thought, no, sit with it. And I have been in dark places, and I could understand why people may feel suicidal, fall into really bad habits, drugs and alcohol. And I thought, I'm lucky that I could afford to go to therapy, and I valued it. But other people aren't as fortunate as me. And to hear 9 people have had therapy because of the generosity of people it's genuinely saved lives. It saves dads, fathers' lives, brothers' lives, friends' lives.
And that's what it's about.
That is exactly what it's about. It's, again, social media is a vehicle to me promoting that positive change, hopefully. And it's not positive change, it's education and signposting. And that is the idea of around it. Because there's lots of us that struggle. I mean, I've certainly struggled on and off for a number of years, and life's tough, isn't it? And sometimes you can't get through it alone.
It is, mate. It is. Mate, like, life is hard. Fucking. Op resilience, though, like, where did the idea come from? Like, where did it? Did you just wake up and go, I'm gonna fucking do this, or like, where did it come from?
Good question. I'm going to big up the CAPB Podcast, actually. We've had loads of conversations over the years. I mean, we speak almost every day, don't we? And you dropped this idea around the podcast for a number of weeks, months, maybe even over a year. And then you just thought, fuck it, and did it, didn't you? And now you...
We did, yeah.
And I've been toying around this. I don't want any kind of recognition or fame from this. I certainly don't make any money from it. It's all of a bit of a passion project for me. But I saw people like yourselves and the other guests that you have on do it. And I thought, fuck it. And I think the start of the very first video I did, it says, fuck it, I'm going to do it. So I did it. And we're here now. And it was the idea. I always had that idea to be able to help others and get a real kick out of it and be able to share lived experience. But the fact that people like yourselves have gone on and done it. And there's other people I'm mates with, like there's a bloke at the gym who's made his own clothing brand. There's another really good mate at the gym, Dan. He went self-employed and he's absolutely flying now. So, like, being surrounded by people like that, yourselves, Matt and Wayne, it really inspired us to just think, go for it. What's the worst that could happen? Failed at loads of things.
Yeah.
What could happen because of it? And because of kind of taking that step, 9 people have maybe in a better place mentally. So it's all been worth it. It's fucking scary though, recording yourself, mate.
It is. Because we don't like to do it, do we? We don't like to put ourselves out there because it's like, all right, dickhead, we've all done stuff.
Who said it on the podcast the other week? Pull up a DOS bag.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I get it, and it is wildly out of our comfort zone. But it's what you said earlier on, which is it's the way of the world now. Social media is the way of the world, right? We have to. If you're not using social media for the things that you do, then you're missing a trick. So, and then sort of, how long has Op Resilience been going on now?
It's very, very new, if I'm going to be honest. I'm thinking around April, May time. Yeah,
this year.
Yeah, this year. Yeah, but it was in its infancy without the branding and the name of it. As I say, kind of September of last year when I did that first 50. Because I've always wanted to do something, but it's not about me. It's about the movement, and it's about trying to, as I say, reduce that stigma. And it's good. It gives me such, like they say, giving and getting fulfillment from helping others is really good for your mental health, and I recognise that in myself. And it's on a personal note, and we're all selfish in some respects, but it's been really helpful for me for my growth and almost recovery from being ill. That's been a nice byproduct, although that was never the driver behind it. To answer your question, yet relatively young, mate, in the last however many months, 5-6 months.
But from what is an idea to getting yourself behind a camera to where you are now, it's massive growth. It's like it seems to have taken on a whole mind of its own, and it just seems to be growing and growing. So, with that in mind, the infancy, it's only 6 months. What are the lessons learned? What lessons have you learned?
In terms of lessons, I'm absolutely just winging it at the minute, and I'm working with some close mates that have made my logo. He's done a few other bits for us in terms of what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of promotional stuff, like videos, give us a few tips. I mean, I make everything on fucking Canva, mate. And like, there's so much you can do for free, isn't there? But I say for a lesson learned, having a bit of a strategy around certain things. I thought, I'm going to make a video on this, and then I'll go make a video on it. Or I'll make a video on this, but then I'll go home and have a brew, and I'll slam half a packet of biscuits down my head, and I'll forget to do it. So I'm trying to force through, because this is a passion project, and I've got a full-time job, and I've got loads of other hobbies. It's to be a bit more kind of strict with it, because the ultimate mission is to share that you are a resilient person, you can overcome life struggles, you can become better. There are other strategies to learn. Where am I going with this?
Lessons learned,
strategies. What I'd do is I'd make a better plan, which is ironic considering the tangent I just went on.
Yeah.
That's it.
You mentioned something there about resilience and becoming resilient. So, like, I've got my own take on it, and like I think that I think resilient itself, or resiliency, or however you want to say it, it's built out of hardship mostly, right? And that stuff that makes you resilient is out of your control most of the time. It's almost like an event that gets put in your way, whether that is, your car breaking down, you losing your job, or you getting an illness, right? For you to push through makes you resilient. So the next time you learn from that, and the next time you're stronger, and the next time your car breaks down, or the next time you lose your job, or the next time you get an illness, it's not as a punch in the face as the first time. That's what kind of being resilient means to me. It's like having that ability to push through the trauma now to help you in the future, like help you better navigate help you better navigate trauma or issues in the future when they arise. What is your take on what is to be resilient?
So, like, if you Google or look in the dictionary about the definition of resilience, it's about the ability to bounce back or retake your previous form, or sort of words along that effect. I really like Ross Edgley, the guy he's fucking swam around Britain, he's on a triathlon with a tree, swam around Iceland. I love his content, like stoic inspired hardships and things like that. He's very informed and educated in and around those. But suffering strategically is resilience. But you mentioned some really good points around overcoming life hardships that are out of your control, like illness, car breaking down, maybe losing your job. I'm going to take it one step further, where you have to apply the lessons learned from those certain things. Like illnesses, very much out of our control to a certain extent, but other certain things around diet that we can maybe improve. Things of that nature, and not to say that they're going to work, because I mean, illnesses sweep you and the blindside you out of absolutely nowhere. But for me, experiencing some stuff when we got on operational tours, it wasn't until I lived through a certain amount of maybe flashbacks, you could call them, or kind of revisiting previous traumas, that I'm able to learn new strategies to able to manage that. If you think about injuries, right, I've got a calf injury at the moment, which is fucking boring, by the way. But I'm having to go, right, I don't want a calf injury in the future, so I'm having to almost rehab it and prehab it, so I'm having to look after him in the future. And for me, it's about resilience. To sum it up, it's about using strategies to support yourself overcoming things. And I don't believe we bounce back and take the same shape. I think, and I'm a huge believer in post-traumatic growth, the hardest and the best, most resilient people I know have experienced things and come out better on the other side because they've been able to learn from the lessons. And so many servicemen and women that have experienced things and they're actually coming out, although they may not have wanted those experiences, they are more improved people in the end, and they've shared the goodness everywhere. There's some amazing veterans out in the community, isn't there, doing certain things.
There is.
And there's people like Mark Ormond is a great example. The amount he's done in and around charities and sharing stories. And so I work in schools, and there was a project run through Blessmer around making Generation R, and it's incredible. So they got veterans that may have been injured either in kind of combat on operational tours or just while serving, and they will come in and talk their story through about how they became injured. There's a guy called Swifty. His leg cost like £500,000. It was fucking ace. Like Bluetooth in it, his ankle worked and everything. He had the kids wrapped around his fingers, by the way. But he spoke through his story and how he became resilient and how he overcame it. And there's so much we can learn from people that have overcome certain things. You're a great example, mate. Got diagnosed with cancer, you ran an ultra marathon the next day. That's fucking sick, that is. That doesn't happen by accident.
No. I think the ultra did.
Yeah. I
think the ultra did. But that's one of the reasons I think that, I don't know, that's another part of resilience that I like to look for, is the long distance running that most of us do.
Yeah. And do you know why that is?
That ability to push yourself a little bit more. Why?
Because, one, we get left alone for a fair few hours when we're on a long run, when we like a peace and quiet, don't we? Two, it's enforced suffering from it. And I find, personally, I don't know about you, I don't know what Matt would say, I find the more challenges I set for myself, the things that life throws at me become more manageable. And it's almost, you're able to look back and think, fuck, that was a hard day. But you ran 50 miles at the weekend, you idiot. So you're not running 50 miles, but that's self-induced, isn't it? But do you know what? We talk about lessons learned. So when I was doing the run, so I originally set out to do 24 laps within 24 hours. I thought, right, 100 miler, 24 hours, bucket list stuff. I've attempted it a couple of times and I haven't come through it. It took me 33. It was fucking awful, but I loved every second of it. And do you know the reason why? It takes me back to that sense of belonging. I spoke to you loads throughout the day. I've got videos of Matt in the bath a couple of times throughout the day. I'll send them to you if you want.
Thanks,
You're welcome. But I always had people running with us. I had people walking around with like speakers on the back. One woman called Laura sat me down and force fed me water and food. And my kids came and ran with us. Friends I haven't seen for ages come to run with us. My mate David in the fucking bush. And if you know Jiu-Jitsu, mate, after 60 miles, I wasn't doing any wrestling. I pulled guard. He scared the shit out of me in the middle of the dark. There's a bloke that lived at the bottom of the hill in the woods. He came and sat with us, tried to force feed me fish and chips. Like the sense of camaraderie and the sense of belonging really got us through it. Which makes me realise, resilience is good. We can overcome things by ourselves. But we need people. We're social creatures. We need people. We need good people around us. And I didn't realise until that how much people can really help. Just in general, because I enjoyed every step I took on that run. Every step.
In hindsight,
even during it, I really did. Yeah, because I had good people with us, and to me, resilience becomes easier to learn, and things get easier to get through when you've got the right people around you.
What's next?
What's next? Well, I forgot to tell you what. So with the $3,000 that was raised through it, so $2,000 went to Kudox. The other 1,000 is so I've been qualified to deliver first aid for mental health courses. So the other 1,000, well, give or take, is paying for. I'm putting on courses. I don't make a penny from it. It pays for the certification and the books and the resources. Because my big aim from this is to make more resilient people. So I'm going into local businesses and delivering these courses for free for them. And because of the accrediting body, essentially you have to pay for the certificates. So what I want in the bigger grand scheme of this is, yes, for people to access therapy, raise the profile of mental health. But the third one is to have someone that is first aid for mental health trained in every organisation in North East Lincolnshire. We've got emergency first aiders in every organisation, so we can respond to a physical injury. I want someone that can respond and signpost to someone that may be struggling with poor mental health. That is the big goal. So far, I've trained just over 22, 23 people I've trained. So that's 22 or 23 people that are in the community working with people, have a better understanding of mental health and how to support. So in terms of what's next, mate, in terms of what's next, it's pushing those courses as well as trying to find different ways to use that money. So I've given it to some of the funding has gone to a really good mate of mine who does PTs, professional MMA fighter, but he's going to be delivering sessions to people to get them into mixed martial arts and Jiu-Jitsu, because it's a scary thing. And I know the benefit of Jiu-Jitsu and martial arts, mixed martial arts, MMA, and the gym that we go to, how it's supportive of my mental health. So I'm using the funding to reduce barriers accessing that as well.
That's quality.
So yeah, that's what's next.
So big plans.
Big plans. Exciting plans. I sleep easy knowing I've got something to work towards, because I know the difference it can make.
On that, mate, if there was someone out there that, was struggling, or I'm going to take this two ways, actually. So firstly, if someone was struggling, right, what can they do? What piece of advice would you give them? So that's the first question, and then I'll go on to the second one in a second. So if they were struggling, what can they do? They're listening to this now and they're going, "Yeah, it's all right, you well and good saying this, Ash, but how do I access this stuff?"
Fucking good question, mate. Because there are a lot of very easy answers to give. First one being, talk to someone who knows you well and you trust. Second one is, there are lots of people or lots of maybe charities that you can access online, confidentially and anonymously, who are offering that bespoke support. The biggest one for me was speaking to people. If I'm going to be honest, speaking to people, and I actually said, kind of, where's this effect is, I don't need to do anything. I just need you to listen. So I'm setting my expectations with my conversation. And I said, I am really, really struggling now. I don't need to do anything, but I needed to share that. And that was, I've said it in the past to people, I've heard other people say it, and what we can get into the habit of, especially as men, I think, and that's a sweeping generalization, we try to fix things for people, or we try to shed some light on, or it could be worse. Yeah, right, you've had a bad day, but I've had a bad day. You've been to Tenerife, I've been to 11 or 8. But if someone is coming to you and saying that they're struggling, you don't need to try and fix it. You can just say words like, things sound really hard for you at the minute. Thank you for sharing. What can I do to help? Or is there anything I can do? Because far too often, for best intentions, absolute best intentions, we try to fix things and take away the hurt from people. But sitting alongside someone saying, life is tough for you, thank you so much for sharing, that took a lot of bravery. And I can guarantee, right, if we've got big area ass people watching this podcast, Like, it's okay to do that. It's okay to show vulnerability. Really, really. So that, to answer that question in a long way, I think I've done that a couple of times. Speak to someone. And if someone is speaking to you, let them speak. Accept what they're saying. Give them a fucking hug if you want to.
Amazing. My other piece of advice I want to kind of tease out of you is, if someone else wanted to do this, set up a mental health sort of movement, the ability to break down these barriers, like what bit of advice would you give now, knowing what you've gone through already?
If you're thinking of sticking out content and around kind of supporting mental health, I would say to be yourself, show some vulnerability of it. Like, you don't have to share your demons, you don't have to show the reasons that you may struggle. I mean, you absolutely can, of course you can, but showing that vulnerability whilst making your videos. Harry, he was on your podcast a few weeks ago. He's spoken about it, and he's shown like complete vulnerability around it. It's that, I believe that's the best way to get genuine, make a genuine impact. About sharing that it's okay not to be okay. And also, you got to do something fucking disgusting to raise some money. Don't run a 5K, run fucking 30 with a Bergen on your face.
Just on your face?
Yeah, it's perfect carrying attire. Yeah, maybe not on your face, maybe on your back. That's probably a better way to wear it.
I reckon so. So, Ash, we're coming to the close of the pod now. Like, me and you are obviously very, 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 very close and very good mates. I just want to thank you for coming onto the pod. I think what you've done today is really sort of opened up this the avenues of what op resilience is, what it can do, and also the message around it, that it's absolutely okay to not be okay. And like, with what you're doing locally in your area, I think it's just amazing, mate, and it's testament to you as an individual. So, with that being said, and I'm not blowing any more smoke up your arse because you won't fucking let me in it, right? Thanks, mate. Thanks very much for coming onto the podcast, mate. And yeah, we'll catch you soon.
Cheers,
mate.
Thanks for your time.